Verlisify is a rage-baiting narcissist and grifter who manufactures drama for views. That's how he gets his bag. That's been his career for over a decade now. For any of you that are shocked that Alpharad got caught in his crosshairs, well, that's only because for whatever reason you're simply uninitiated. After this video, you will be. Damn, even YouTube knows. So what did Alpharad do that was so damning that makes him worthy of joining the ranks of the other scumbags in the Pokemon community? That's a rhetorical question, by the way, because Alpharad didn't do anything. You see, if you simply do not function the way a narcissist approves of, then you're naturally going to be a bad guy. All Alpharad did was say something that Verlisify didn't agree with in a nearly 8.5 minute long video, and that's where this nearly 35 minute long shitpost came from as a response. Can you guys imagine how mentally disturbed one must be to turn a less than 10-minute remark into a nearly 35-minute long disagreement? And it's all to villainize said individual. This hot topic of the Pokemon controversy is a tug of war of opinions on either side concerning people cheating in Pokemon, because it's totally an anomaly in gaming and in humanity for that matter that hasn't been seen and heard of until now. I have a series of videos planned that will explain this controversy entirely and the real issue when it comes to Pokemon as an e-sport. Either way, everyone has an opinion and people can either agree, disagree, or agree to disagree. But not Verlisify and his NPC nation. They have to be internet radicals who live to be offended by every little thing. So it's not enough for people like that to disagree with something. They have to additionally paint someone in a horrible light, and that's the thing that Verlisify has been doing for over a decade now to any and every content creator that happens to get caught in his crosshairs, specifically the ones in the Pokemon community, Poketubers if you will, because he has this demented mindset of everyone else being the problem and he's the only solution. It's simple. Because he's a narcissist, Verlisify thinks he's some kind of high inquisitor that can deem anything he damn well pleases in the Pokemon community or in general, and if you do not abide by that, he's going to go medieval on your asses and villainize you just like he did with so many other content creators that happen to see way more success on their platform than he ever did. Here's Verlisify's MO. Before I run the red tape of so many examples he has provided over the years of his toxicity out of sheer jealousy, Verlisify creates a problem, and as an attempt to validate that problem, he twists things and sensationalizes them. That's why Alpharad is a fraud, even though it boils down to a disagreement. Imagine being this fucking extreme over a disagreement in a children's game of Pokemon. But that's also why Pokemon Challenges is a fraud as well. And that boils down to him not playing unofficial Pokemon software the way this high inquisitor and narcissist deems. So he doesn't like Nuzlocke. He's concerned about the thing he claims he doesn't care about because it isn't being played properly. Yeah, man, narcissists are truly fucked in the head. No matter who the unassuming target is, the story, the script is still the same, just like it was in 2013 and 2016, among many other years in this decade-long career of Verlisify shitposting. Of course, his arch nemesis is the devil himself because of so many narratives he created around this guy. This is the definition of rent-free malice, and because it's narcissistic behavior, of course everyone he ever talked shit about always has to be a shitty person. They always have to be a villain. He can't say anything good about them because that doesn't look good for his agenda, his narrative, his grift. Everyone in the Pokemon community is bad because he says so. After all, that's the only way his self-proclamation of being the only good person in the Pokemon community is going to sound like he's not telling a straight up flagrant lie. He went from throwing a tantrum over Wolf Glick's Raichu having an illegal Pokeball that made no difference in any Pokemon battle to throwing a tantrum about its perfect stats, despite that bit being perfectly obtainable in the Pokemon games. To this day, no fucks are given to that basement-dwelling man-baby drooling that he still does over this damn thing. Among many other failed attempts at canceling and villainizing Wolfglick, he took a stab at his Galarian Moltres, and the list goes on and on and on. I think it's jealousy that inspires this rent-free malice, because at the end of the day, Wolfglick has achieved everything he could never achieve in a children's video game, regardless of all of this petty shit that he has been sensationalizing ad nauseum for 7 years now. And if he ever stops having a dick measuring contest with this sensationalist nonsense and thinking that breeding is a skill, because riding a bike, a Pokemon, whatever, back and forth and hatching eggs when your time is better spent surely requires all of the skill in the world, because that's what Pokemon battles and competitions were ever about. He knows that he would get his ass handed to him with the things that matter in a Pokemon battle and a competition for that matter. But what does 0 and 3 know anyway? If there was ever actually a Wolfglick versus Verlisify in VGC, he'll likely try to win with Fury Cutter Venusaur and Heavy Slam Wailord anyway, and still call Wolfglick a cheater, and a girlfriend thief for that matter. Of course, Wolfglick is not the only one that has been hit with the Verlisify crosshairs of sensationalism. A-Drive, of course, is scamming the Pokemon community. And I'll say it now, all of these villains that came from his sensationalism of them more than likely made videos and posts of their own to clear up any of that confusion. So if you're not in the Verlisify NPC nation and you're not Verlisify, you don't need anyone to tell you that this is nothing more than unhinged and malicious shit that can only come from someone with self-loathing issues. Notice the pattern, because someone in the Pokemon community that isn't Verlisify, the High Inquisitor, the Saint, has to be scamming the Pokemon community. They have to be a murderous cheater. Catch your Pokemon in Pokeballs, or your game will get corrupted much like Scarlet and Violet naturally performs. He even gave Cerebi the spotlight at one point, because if you're not a fraud, a world-class cheater and scammer, you have to be harassing him as well. Interestingly enough, that video's ratings have been disabled, courtesy of the most righteous, the most honest guy in the Pokemon community, which is funny because he pins a comment begging people to like the video so the facts won't get buried. Disabling your ratings just defeats the purpose. It's just another Chad Verlisify moment. I'll let you decide what infantile drama he manufactured around Joe Merrick. Pimp Knight, of course, is another victim of his sensationalized malice. But interestingly enough, if you attempt to look for these shit posts, you won't find them, because the most honest guy in the Pokemon community has a nasty habit of hiding things that he claims are facts. I told you he has a shitload of self-proclamations, didn't I? I at least alluded to that earlier, so there's that. But bearing all of this in mind is what really matters. The tactics of this bad actor that fancies himself an ally to the Pokemon community, and Pokemon for that matter, just like any narcissist, lives a sad existence built off of delusion and the manipulation. He can never learn consistency, but that's what makes him such a fun and laughable hypocrite who contradicts every stupid thing that comes out of his mouth. But these aren't the first of his self-proclaimed truths that he ended up hiding, and they definitely won't be the last. Other interesting things about Verlisify is his affinity to make a political fucking idiot of himself as well. He may not be a racist, but he is definitely a Nazi sympathizer. I know a lot of you have seen this tweet many times. Who other than a Nazi sympathizer would think that non-violent Nazis ever existed? Nazis are literally the equivalent of any other racist and bigoted person out there, like the KKK, whose ideals are anything but non-violent, but not according to the Nazi sympathizer here. That's what he gets for trying to be a contrarian, because that's another one of his shticks he thinks makes him look like a cool kid. But like a lot of his other content that he claimed was the way, the truth, and the light, this tweet naturally doesn't exist anymore. I wonder why. Here he is defending Nazis yet again, claiming that they have a different political view. Wow, that's just like saying the KKK have a different political view as well. Here he is once again acting without thinking. And finally, he thinks that Nazis are law-abiding citizens. I am not going to act like I know what this entire conversation was about, but pretending a party of people that are objectively racist and just all around shitty because of their harmful beliefs that they naturally have acted on says it all about this Nazi sympathizer. I said it at the beginning of the video. He is a rage-baiting narcissist and grifter. He has to make every bit of the drama he manufactures, as well as the sensationalized malice, an issue that's too big to ignore. The tactics and the script haven't changed for over a decade. The empty space in his head functions like this. He wakes up every day with a frown on his face because he hates himself. Now it's time to project that self-hate on an entire community, let alone the internet. That's how he copes with his sad existence. So he pulls up a laundry list of his limited grifting tactics that he can only run to for views. Now all it is manufactured drama and sensationalized malice. No one in the Pokemon community has ever murdered a puppy or slapped their mother in front of thousands of people. It's just a narcissist that fancies himself some kind of high inquisitor because these content creators, far more successful than he could ever be, can make more than pitiful and miserable content to project their self-hate through. A-Drive is doing fine. He didn't blot out the sun with his Illustrious trading card game. Wolf Glick continues to teach Verlisify how to be a Pokemon Chad instead of a whiny and bitter sore loser who could never get his gimmicky Venusaur and Wailord to work. Austin John is the non-Verlisify version of Pokemon content. And as far as that Poketips situation is concerned, something will be said that completely contradicts either person claiming someone stole something from them. Poketips is actually referring to a certain other video a certain someone made.
Fact, my shiny hunting video came out on Sunday, November 18th. His shiny hunting video, this garbage mess, came out on Saturday, November 24th.
Do you see that, ladies and gents? This doesn't look like the exact same thing. Poketips is accusing Mr. Almighty here of stealing. Why doesn't Mr. Understand Facts tell you that? Yeah, sure, he proved that he put his guide out before Poketips, but Mr. Honesty and Facts does not tell you that Poketips is referring to this character assassinating shitpost, quote unquote, calling out Poketips among other Poketubers about how they're playing a child's video game the wrong way. Why doesn't Mr. Honesty and Facts talk about this, quote unquote, clapback? And it doesn't help his case that he not only disabled the ratings, they looked something like this prior to Mr. Honesty and Facts here hiding them.
Also, I always kind of find it funny how Verlisify tries to call people out but hides the likes and dislikes on his videos, which is the most sketchy thing you can possibly do. If I was telling the truth, why would I hide the likes and dislikes? He tries to manipulate his audience into thinking that he has robots that dislike all of his videos, and maybe he does have some robots that dislike his videos, but he has a lot of people that are subscribed to him for the sole reason to dislike his videos because he starts drama with everybody in the Pokemon community.
My thoughts exactly. And it also doesn't help that when he is bombarded with the exact same hate, negativity, and toxicity he projects on the Pokemon community, his bitch ass ends up turning off the comments as well.